Yes. Yeah. Okay. We're good.
You ready?
Yes.
This was a really great chapter. I was excited when I got to the end. I was like, "Fuck!" Like any sort of like maybe we should like. I was like, I remember why I like Russell and why like we should keep reading his stuff. It doesn't have to be directly after this, but the way
Mm-hmm.
he looks at the world is just, I love it. So, um, that's all.
Yeah. Apparently, what the hell is this? Well, apparently I've discovered. What is going on? What am I looking at? No, I don't look at a fucking plot. God damn it. Dude, Bertrand Russell play. He's an actor in a movie, dude. I think that's pretty entertaining.
You talking about?
Bertrand Russell. He acted in a movie as himself.
Are we? So are we not doing the live stream with Louis C.K.?
Oh, we can do it this week. Sorry, I'm also like, yeah. We'll do that. Um,
Okay, no
I'm.
worries. Oh, it was Saturday. I missed it. Fuck.
Oh, that's okay. I also was doing stuff anyway. Um,
Um,
no worries. Yeah. Also, yeah. So yes. Oh, this chapter was very good. I was just looking up a picture of Bertrand Russell, and then I saw that he had a fucking IMDb page, and he's in a fucking movie. You don't seem very surprised about this.
uh, sure.
Okay. Well, whatever. I'll shut up. We can talk about this.
Fuck you. Don't make me feel bad for being ambivalent about your dumb fact. All right, it is dumb. Now I'm aggressive about it. Fuck your facts.
Okay.
Feel better?
I do feel better.
All right. Now I'm the enemy. Great. All right. Um, bro, did you know? Hold on. This can't be true. He was in a fucking movie.
Yeah, he's in a movie.
Fucking. Sorry. Um. So where do you want to start?
um, I mean, we could start anywhere really. I had to kind of. This was a rough reading for me because I'm hungover, which mostly means I'm tired. I'm not actually hungover. I just didn't sleep well. But I did read it. Um, the most exciting part of this actually was he started talking about neutral monism that I wasn't quite expecting. Well, I guess I wasn't expecting it, but also I'm not surprised he talked about it because he's known for having
I don't know what
his
it is. What is neutral monism?
another term. It's that like that mental activity and slash entities are substantially the same as physical stuff. Uh, so that
Ooh.
there is no metaphysical divide between mind and matter, and it's not like one exists and not the other one. It's that there is just one thing. There are two sides of the same coin, you might say. Um, yeah. So that one was pretty cool. Well, I mean, I would like to talk about it more, I guess. One.
Yeah, we're gonna probably agree or disagree on that one heavily.
Okay, the theory of neutral monism maintains that the distinction between the mental and the physical is entirely an affair of arrangement, that the actual material arranged is exactly the same in the case of the mental as it is in the case of the physical, but they differ merely in the fact that when you take a thing as belonging in the same context with certain other things, it will belong to psychology, while when you take it in certain other contexts with other things, it will belong to physics. And the difference is as to what you consider to be its context. Just the same sort of difference as there is between arranging the people in London alphabetically or geographically. So, according to William James, the actual material of the world can be arranged in two different ways, one of which gives you physics and the other psychology. It is just like rows or columns. In an arrangement of rows and columns, you can take an item as either a member of a certain row or a member of a certain column. The item is the same in the two cases, but its context is different.
I completely understand the idea that like there's no difference between a phantom and, you know, the people you see in the room or the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I when you start getting, I think I understand. I think I don't understand. I have some guesses for where we get into physics and psychology and the leap that is made there. But if you want to kind of give me where fill in the gaps there for me of what I'm not grasping.
Um. Well, I mean, I think you. Well, are you talking about specifically in the section I just read, or he talks at other spots about? Um.
Both
Okay.
in the book and in what you just read.
Yeah. So what I just read is from the book. Um. That was.
Okay, was that a trick question, you fuck?
No. I mean, it's just telling me what's in the book. It doesn't tell me what. Um. I guess what you mean.
Oh, okay.
Just the other spot where he talks about, like, at another spot he talks about, like, subatomic particles not being the ultimate constituents of reality, metaphysically speaking. And then here he's talking about
Hold
how.
on once. I'm so sorry to do this to you.
Sure.
Fucking Christ. Something. Oh, a tab open. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. I couldn't hear you over fucking. I caught. I just missed the last 5 seconds. I didn't want to miss anything important. Continue.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So. So so he talked about, stuff like subatomic particles, which, I mean, he's clear that he's not denying their existence. He's just refusing to affirm that they exist, because we don't actually really ever know about them. We just have these things, these senses that we have, and that's really what's going on. And everything else is, well, he also does say that things do exist in a way, but well, they exist in a
Well,
different way.
I hate to pause you. If we
Mm-hmm.
can, so the particle, without branching or fractaling too much as to lose me, right? In regards to the chair example, right?
Yep.
Without getting to the molecular level, um, when we talk about the chair not being there in a week, I understand, right? I don't understand the divide between physics and psychology, and
Oh,
where that row and column comes in.
he's just explaining about. I'm trying to put I'm trying to make recall better what the context was. Um. Oh, he was trying to. So I think primarily he was trying to argue against. Was that there? That was. So he went for a couple paragraphs about arguing against the belief that the real is the permanent. I think by this point, though, by the time we got to the, by the time then we got to so he's still talking about this. So he talks about, like, normal things, um, phantoms and hallucinations, and then we talk about Jones. Like, who is Jones? Well, he's not a metaphysically persistent entity, because he changes all the time. And even if he did have a physically persistent entity, that's not what we mean by when we see Jones, when we're talking about Jones, because Jones is, you're seeing him right there. And then what exactly is in the empirical relation between two experiences? He's talking about relating two experiences. I don't know why that goes into support his argument against that the real is the permanent.
I think to stay as concrete as possible, using the definition you looked up was best because they talk about it right there and it's pretty to the point.
Neutral monism.
Yeah.
So I will take another illustration. I'm assuming he's still talking about arguing against the real is the permanent. He's trying to argue against that. You all know the American theory of neutral monism, which derives from William James. And Mach maintains that the distinction between the mental and the physical is entirely an affair of arrangement. I mean, I guess another way of looking at it is it's all just another way of looking at things. I'm not very funny, but
But that was good. So my brain is in try to understand mode, and wordplay
yeah,
mucks up definitions pretty easily. um, you're doing fine. You're haha.
yeah. Oh God.
Sorry. Oh my God. I really want to understand this, and I'm
Yeah,
having a tough time getting you to help to where
yeah.
I think my
Okay,
misunderstanding is tough to understand.
okay. They differ. They being mental things or physical things. And when he's talking about psychology, I think that's what he means by when he's talking about mental activities, because it's arguable, like, in psychology, like, are we talking about like mental things that kind of float around in a platonic extra realm kind of thing, or like a
Okay, I think I'm having a brain blast. I think you broke through.
yeah, go
If
ahead.
psychology is the study of the mental
Yeah,
and physics is the study of the physical, we're saying those are they are different of the same, but to us, a mental image of a chair is the same as the phantom of a chair. It's just there are more data elements to the physical chair, such as relational data to other people in the room who can also verify its existence.
yeah. There's a system of other. There's a fuller system of things that are related that let us differentiate between normal objects and hallucinations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the other peculiar thing about what he's talking about with the neutral monism is the varying context. So when you're talking about like physics, for example, you might, like, if you're like in classical physics, you might just be concerned with this person as just a heavy object that has a certain mass and it moves around, and it's a mass amongst other masses like the sun and the earth. Um, and so then and you can kind of pick apart the person as just being more or less something that fills out a variable in a physics problem. Um, you can also think about like you can think about somebody's brain with respect to like their particles and the electricity that's going on, but you also talk about a person's, well, their mind, but their like like the brain and the mind. I think under this, that they're talking about, the brain and the mind are the same thing, metaphysically speaking, but they're two names for the same reference, but they kind of have different. They live in different contexts. So like, I guess your mind exists like kind of like in a more normal manifest realm, or like where we normally exist. Like, oh, my mind is having a trouble understanding this problem, boss. I don't know why this is going on. Like that's what you're in the context of people. Whereas when you're talking about brains, you're probably talking about like physiology, like medicine, medicine. Oh, there's a brain aneurysm. You didn't have a mind aneurysm. You had a brain aneurysm. Um,
Right.
yeah. Uh, and they just want to go let that they're really just talking about the same thing, just with two different like aspects of it.
So I'm with you. What are your takes on monogeism?
Monogeism. I find it intriguing. Um, so mostly just because it's kind of in the last paragraph of this chapter, he's like, people who like doing philosophy just like hypothesizing and wondering and speculating as towards what could be. Um, but yeah,
I've
it's
got to
fun.
imagine in that time period, that's probably very much the case. Isn't there kind of a drought to a certain aspect in that time period
A drought of what,
between
science?
of intelligent people speaking on philosophy?
Is there like less people doing it, like a drought? You mean? Um,
Uh, I couldn't name. Well, let me be careful. I'm speaking with someone who majored, but
not.
between the 1800 German and then like contemporary analytic philosophy, I would say there's from the layman it's not.
It's not like famous people. I mean, but there's definitely a lot of people. Yeah, like William James is one of the ones. There's still like smart people around. Like Freud was at the turn of the 20th century. So is Nietzsche. I think Nietzsche died either in year 1900 or like right after it. Um,
Fair enough.
I mean, we had
I'll
who's
t-
the other guy? Bradley McTaggart, but nobody cares about him currently, so nobody talks about him. So you don't really hear the name. Yeah, like William James is one of them. John Dewey. Yeah, I mean there's still people around, but and there's still whole lot of science going on. A huge amount of science happened. Math and science happened in the 19th century.
Right. Oh, well, so if that's kind of to my point, right? I'm not saying necessarily that there weren't famous people, right? What I'm probably guessing is as we move into the just empirical realm, right, where science is everything, we lose a little bit of that kind of spirit
Oh,
analysis or
for philosophy, yeah.
and so who's going to reign supreme and fucking big mouth bloviators who are really not talking about and kind of he does throw a bit of sand at the idea that there are like that people who get into philosophy at this, and I'm
Oh,
inserting
okay, yeah,
in this time period,
yeah.
are probably going to be a lot of people who are just kind of waxing about nothing, right? A lot of feelings, a lot of this and that, and not because imagine if you're up against empirical science as a fucking time period of
Yeah.
things that are coming to be, you're probably going to be a contrarian to a certain extent, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
like
not getting
culturally
into it for the
speaking.
right reason, culturally speaking, right?
Yeah, you're not a part of the culture. Yeah, yes, yes. So, I've been meaning to look into this actually. When you know, to what degree like the control of the university shifted, because it used to be that theology actually up until like the end of the 18th century about was the top, like that was the pinnacle of the university, was studying theology, um, and like yeah, that's where all the grants went. People made I don't know if all the grants went there, but like the people who ran the university were the theologians, and they basically decided on like I guess yeah, well, like who would get the money? Like, do we want to give it to the natural science people or the or the fucking poetry people or whatever, or the economists? But it was all ran by theology until Kant actually did a lot of. I've read a little bit, just a very little bit. I wouldn't want to look at it more. About he restructured philosophy to put, or he restructured the university to actually put philosophy at the top, and then obviously somewhere between Kant and now, philosophy has just been. It doesn't even have its own department. It's just like a part of. It's a humanities. You get a fucking arts degree with a master of arts or whatever. Doing a philosophy degree. So yes, it definitely got. Yeah, I think with like industrialization, probably people realized how much money they could make, and then the $1 billion your J.P. Morgans and whatever decided I'm assuming they probably just kind of overtook the control of the university because they wanted fucking smart engineers to come out, so they dumped a bunch of money into engineering and science, uh, and realized they couldn't make any money with philosophy, and so just shoved them into the back closet. That's my guess. It's kind of funny that I'm doing philosophy to discuss why philosophy happened because he just talked about how it's philosophy speculative, and you don't actually talk about knowledge. I'm so meta right now because I'm just speculating on what's going on. I don't actually know, but
But I don't even think it's a speculation. I just think we can go. I think now we can go so far beyond speculation and just say that um, J.P. Morgan is someone who had a lot of factory work and workers, and it was a new and upcoming industry, and he would want to invest in educating potential workers for his company.
mm-hmm.
And therefore, when you've got your finger on the scale, you would prefer that those who come out educated in fields that would benefit you. I don't think that's like a conspiracy or a leap. I think that's
No,
probably
yeah. I'm also imagining like he
quick
would
inference.
like J.P. Morgan would give like fucking $1 billion or whatever to whatever universities he likes, um, to their engineering departments and not their fucking philosophy departments. Um, and
Yeah,
then
there's going to be some stipulations.
yeah,
I'm sure there's no regulations back then.
and now you have it's now the engineering and science and the science department that has like they have all the fucking money, and they're the ones that are bringing in donations from outside, not just by like tuitions and stuff, but they're the ones bringing in the big paychecks from other people. And so
All this to say you don't believe in monotheism.
I like it, and I want to explore it more. Another word for it is panpsychism. I've brought it up a couple of times.
And psychism.
Yes.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yes.
What are your against or for? Because I I would say in true Russell fashion, because we're both being Russellists right now and saying that, well, I'm not going to affirm or deny. I'm just going to nothing it,
Well, I'll go
which
for
means
the
it might
fun
as
of.
well be a chair in the room.
I'll go for the Okay, there is a chair in the room. That's the first thing you got. But the thing about panpsychism is
Of
it
course,
makes
there's that would yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was
um
sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, but so panpsychism doesn't deny that there are chairs or whatever there. Doesn't deny that there's like physical things. It's just that also all physical
I think you
things.
misunderstood my joke.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
I was saying you affirm it. It might as well be real, but
Okay.
there, yeah, and we misunderstood each other. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I like it. It is what's intriguing about it is it does. It's a kind of a flip flop, in terms of the way that it kind of a you could call it a uh Copernican revolution where you swap around the layout of everything that you're looking at, and it basically could make your theories work a lot better. Not so there wasn't really exactly any evidence to suggest that it works better, or to say that it is right, but just that because of how all the
It
data
really
starts,
fits nicely,
yeah, because of how all the data starts fitting together, it kind of works. And it's not really data that's
and
fitting
then it
together. It's
self
just
perpetuates. Yeah,
yeah. So what's kind of fun is that the really nice thing about panpsychism is that it totally solves the hard problem of consciousness, which is, well, where does fucking consciousness comes from? Well, it doesn't come from anywhere. It's just there already, totally fine. We didn't have to explain, like, there's no
well, let's before we branch,
hmm
premise A, right, about what you just said, um it fitting nicely. So the way it fits into the way I think about it, and then I'll let you pick that apart, because I like hesitantly strongly agree with it, meaning like at its face, and when I first do my analysis mentally of passing it through a couple just mental tests, I go, yeah, that sounds like absolutely. But obviously, I understand that I'm fucking rookie in this industry, so or this field, so I'm
hmm
not gonna just tacitly go about saying it's fact. So how if I believe there's a chair in this room, but there isn't, how would you how does that differ from someone who sees a chair and it's real?
um I mean, I don't know if panpsychism is gonna have a fun answer for that specific to it um over like a material monist. uh I mean, my answer is that we do like. So my answer is more or less kind of what Russell says, which is that it kind of not so much that there's like sense data exactly, but that it fits in to the context of what everything else is going on really well. Um, like I can sit on it, I can lick it, I can burn it, I can hit things with it. Uh, it doesn't like move around, or like, it doesn't not move around literally. It doesn't like, it's not nefarious in my experiences. It's
Chairs and their conspiracies,
yes.
the nefarious chairs.
um,
So I guess so when you say those things, right? Obviously, in context, to me, the chair is just as real as the chair that actually exists. But if I were to go and try to burn it, let's say that phantom disappears, right?
uh-huh.
Obviously, now I've added new data, but until then, I'm sitting in a chair or I'm looking at a chair and it looks real to me and it's just as real. And I can imagine what it feels like before I go touch it and all that stuff. And it would be tough to argue me out of it because it's a phantom to me. In this phantom, I'm saying it is as real as any other chair I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Um, this separation, or let me ask you an easier question. What are the arguments against monotheism?
Oh. Um. Well, on the one hand, if you want to talk about like how I was about to explain the other flip side, so it's really nice that it suddenly dissolves the hard problem of consciousness, but it at the same time brings up if you want to call it a hard problem of dumb rocks, because it has to now explain how things that seem to appear to be unconscious or have no conscious or mental.
The reason I stopped you there because I'm gonna now have to ask so many questions about that next topic that it may derail us. Uh, Now, if you're saying that the next topic on consciousness is so relevant that we need to dive into it to answer the question I'm asking now, I'll go with you down that road. But I have so many questions about the consciousness, and I haven't even delved into solving consciousness through this problem that it could either be a can of worms that is necessary or unnecessary for the time being.
Yeah,
Just
I
wanted to
think
let
for
you
the
know.
time being, it's a little bit of a rabbit hole. Um, I don't think we nearly need to go down.
Yeah, I'll write a note for the consciousness in monotheism, and
Yes.
I want to, but that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna suggest it as one of the SCP readings we do. Um,
Just hit me with it. We're already here. We've derailed anyway.
oh well,
What's
no. Let's not. We can write it back in.
Okay, fair enough.
Um,
So to restate the question, right? So what are the arguments against uh the mono, psychism or
Panpsychism.
right?
I
Pan.
don't really remember them. I mean, one of them is that well, you're clearly dumb because rocks don't have consciousness. So that's one of the arguments against it.
I don't understand.
So like part of panpsychism. Well, a lot of versions of panpsychism say everything is conscious.
Yeah, see, that's like a whole just the limited idea that you know to see is to believe, right? Or to exist, to if it is in my sense data, right? Then and I believe the sense data, then um, it might as well be real. Um, is a very intuitive or convenient way to kind of answer a lot of problems that you mentioned, right? The real question is, uh, what are the problems with that when um, differentiating the mental from the physical, and how we perceive the physical world if the physical world is just an item of sense data.
I apologize. I spaced out pretty hard. Um, I'm pretty bad at this.
I think we're both. I'm pretty fried as well. I think we're both a little fried.
Okay. I don't. So at the very least, we can stick with the reading. So there aren't any arguments against minutia monism in this chapter. He's literally using it as a support
Well,
for his
yeah,
argument.
here's the positive. I was gonna say, yeah, that's
Um, I can say a little bit more about minutia monism. Uh, I was talking about the chair, the appearances that a chair presents. If we take one of these chairs, we will all look at it, and it gives us different appearances. Taken all together, taking all the different appearances that the chair is presenting to all of us, at this moment, you get something that belongs to physics. Okay, so that if one takes sense data and arranges together all those sense data that appear to different people at a given moment, and are such as we shouldn't ordinarily say are appearances of the same physical object, then that class of sense data will give you something that belongs to physics, namely the chair at this moment. On the other hand, if instead of taking all the appearances that the chair presents to us, all of us at this moment, and I take the appearances that the different chairs in this room present to me at this moment, I get quite another group of particulars. All the different appearances that different chairs present to me now will give you something that belongs to psychology, because that will give you my experience at the present moment. Uh, Broadly speaking, according to what one may take as an expansion of William James, that should be the definition of the difference between physics and psychology. Well, that was, okay. Apparently, I slept through that chapter before. Um, I don't know why he's using that to continue his argument against the real as the permanent. Um, I mean, that's interesting that, like, like if you take one person's appearances and you just shove them all together, that gives you a bunch of particulars that is like a class of things that is a psychological object that you're concerned with. But if you take all the appearances from everybody about one thing, you bundle that together. That's a class of things that physics talks about. That's, I don't know. That's it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I can draw that because I'm really sad. I
Is
finally,
it?
it is really cool. I bought a pen drawer thing, but it doesn't work.
Finally.
I know, but
Why?
I have to get it to work on this. Oh God, what did I just do? It doesn't work on, I guess, Linux. I have to get the drivers installed or something, which is lame because Amazon told me it would work.
It does. You just have to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so here, I'm gonna draw this shitty chair. And then,
Draw time. Let's go.
yeah, so we have this other shitty chair. And then, so we have this chair, and we have this chair, and we have this person, and we have this person. And then we have, in this person's head, we have A and B, and it's gonna, of course, we'll do this, right? And then this one has C and D, right? And that's the appearance of this chair, which really, it's not just the appearance of the chair, it's really actually, well, this itself is a class of things, but we'll just not worry about that. So that physics
Poor guy with his
object.
mouse.
Yes, it's great. Object. You get something like A comma C or B comma D, right? But I didn't even spell it right. Psychology. Hold up. My awesome psychology here deals with stuff like this.
It's a simple. Don't worry.
A, B. Oops. C, D. Yes. Because this is the collective experience of one person and their, continuous experience from that point of view. And then, but this one is an object, an objective object, you could say. It's interesting because objects like this actually also belong in biology, and actually, in a lot of ways. Here we go. This is gonna be nuts. So psychology actually ends up doing. Hold up. Oh, fuck! I'm about to fuck some shit up here. Where's I need to be able to erase this. Where is it? Oh god.
There's a lot about you that you don't know where the eraser is.
Well,
I don't know.
I know where the eraser is.
Why
It's
that
like,
says a lot about you. It's not a bad thing.
I
It's
need
like
a
that you
snipping
don't.
tool is what I need. I want to be able to go
Oh,
grab all this and then delete it.
should be look like a selector.
Yeah, Jesus. Aha, here we go.
It's usually, I was gonna say it's usually the first.
All right, so
thing.
we got this. Actually, I can go ahead and hold up. How do I copy everything and then do it?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
All right. So then we get. Nope. Now we got this. All right. So actually, oh god,
I believe in you, buddy.
can I delete it from here?
No,
Why can't I delete it from here? Come on.
because you're gay.
What? Am I pressing the wrong button? I was pressing the wrong button. All right. I don't know how this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Can I draw on this? No. Why can't I draw on this anymore? Oh my god. All right, we're just gonna do a new one. Who the fuck cares? Okay. So we have. Oh god. Why can't I draw? It's because I have.
I don't know why that's funny. I'm not even watching anymore. Just hearing you get frustrated.
All right. So, all right, here we go. So we have this chair, and we have this chair, and then we have this person.
Now we have two chairs.
Yes, and it has, you have this experience A and B, right? Of that
True.
chair and that chair. And then on top of that, then you have this person with a funny hat. This is what psychology is doing, actually. You have two people, and they have
Are you
funny...
redrawing the same concept?
No, this is a different concept. So
Fuck.
we turn this into an object, right, of concern, and then we have
Those look like.
AB. We have this is X is seeing this, and then this is Y. You know, this guy has this appearance of seeing this, and then so the psychology object.
Does Y? Wait, Y is a he, so Y is trans.
Yeah, sure. Is actually
That's a
XY.
chromosome joke.
Is X? Well, yeah, it's XY, and not AB. You get what I'm saying here?
That was the same concept, wasn't it? Just
Uh,
psychology broken down, or
no, it's a higher level. So physics objects, we were going, oh, it's just A and D pointing to this object, and then from what he was talking about, actually, it was, oh, well, the types of objects we're dealing with in psychology are actually these objects, but that's not really what's going on, because psychology is a science. We're not actually dealing directly with the ideas, like
is it
one
though?
person's idea. We're dealing with the community's opinion or viewing of this person's experience. So there's another higher level up.
Fuck me. Okay, I'm following.
Yeah, I'm also making this stuff. I'm kind of like coming up with right now, but
No shit. You haven't thought about that. By the way,
yeah.
I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, but I just want to be able to say that Russell's kind of wrong. So, haha.
Where is he wrong though?
Russell says that psychology objects are like this, are these objects, A, B, right? But I'm saying they're actually like this.
Fuck, man. Sometimes you're really good at explaining that. This like perfectly demonstrates the gap, the small gap in when you explain things, right? Is, well, at least for me, I shouldn't generalize.
Sure.
For my brain is immediately trying to map one to the other. And you're like, see, and then you point to XY, which is a different variable and a different, and it could easily, the experience, I understand, I think that X and Y together, it's a group, you're grouping the experience of those two. But you use different variables, which was an interesting choice of decision. But the first two variables are the same, but the second two are different. You went with X, Y instead of C, D.
Yeah, I
and you
didn't
could
want to.
easily.
We could easily what?
Well, so if you're going to use A, B, why not use C, D as well to map onto the same?
Because this one had CD over here. The previous example had CD in it already. This is a person here. So this person had the appearance of this chair, which was C, and then this person had the appearance of this chair, which was D, which is what was going on over here. So I didn't want to conflate the variables here.
I see how you came to that decision.
Yeah, so physics here, fucking physics. I'm not gonna spell the rest of it. Is where you go, oh, I'm looking at the tree and I see it like this, or the chair and I see it like this. So you have A and C, and then for the second chair you have like, what is it, B and D. All right, so that's the realm of thing. That's the type of thing you're dealing with in physics. But psychology, he was saying it's just A, B. This set, I mean, that is what they're looking at. But also, you could say that this person, like, well, really, you still need a community. So you have the community here because they can also have X, Y, what a fucking W and Z, right? So if you wanted to have like, not W and Z, oh yeah, W and Z, like, this person sees this crap.
So
okay,
like now you've lost me.
Okay,
but I don't want to I wanted to be honest instead of
okay.
But what was the original question?
No, that wasn't a question. I was just arguing. So Russell was saying that physics.
Oh, you're pointing out the problems with his philosophy.
It's mostly an analogy he was using. It's not actually super important to his argument, because he has lots of other parts to the argument that sufficiently on their own make the argument that real things aren't permanent. And also even if this is true, it's his argument is still fine.
Fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
because like
Fuck me.
like in physics here, you're going, oh, this thing here, whatever it is, this thing that we're concerned, it looks like this to me. So chair looks like A to me, and then this person goes, so we are physicists here. We'll give them, I don't, fucking, we'll give them a mon. What's a good physicist symbol? And a telescope. Give them telescopes. They get telescopes. Give it a little lens. All right. So our physicists go, "Oh, I see this chair and it looks like A to me," and
They're hitting their cigarettes.
yeah, they're giant cigarettes. And this one goes, "Oh, the chair looks like this to me," and then our collective concept of what a chair is going to be, or this chair at least is going to be AC. But the psychologist here goes, "Oh well, what I'm looking at
Fucking blockheads in psychology.
They're hats, dude. They're hats.
Blockheads. No, they're blockheads, bro, because they're fucking idiots. There's fucking blockheads in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Yeah. So, they're seeing that this person has all these experiences, and then they're going, all that experiences, it looks like X to me, and then this guy goes, all those experiences, that looks like Y to me, and then the actual full object that is this experience ends up being an X and a Y. And not,
Dude.
He was saying that the object was an AB, which it's not. It's actually an X and a Y. So,
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right, sorry, just had to confirm something. So I am on board. So I believe you said you don't have anything against. Where did we leave off?
I'm not disagreeing with Russell's overall point, because even if this is still the case, that we still have objects though that are not, and they like this X and Y. This kind of goes away they're very transient, which are the kinds of objects Russell likes. Now I'm just doodling.
Based. I'll pull up my notes here. So, his overall point is something that I have made. Is a point I've made, that I want to ground out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I find the interpretation of a given section of a book, if that is the topic of discussion, that it is a waste of time. And that understanding the topic of discussion and hashing out the accuracy or disagreeing with the premise or conclusion is much more A, enjoyable, but B, productive. If we were to think about premises and conclusions in audio waves, let's say an audio clip,
Yeah.
we would never say, wow, it's so much better when the audio has other signals and is really tough to understand, and interpreting it is the fun part. We would probably just say, well, no, I just want to know what's in it so I can argue with that as opposed to other things. Of course, that's a really easy one. There are probably analogies that disagree with my point. So when we look at some of these philosophers and we're 9 commas into a sentence, and I go, wow, sucks.
Mm-hmm.
The grammar and such, it makes it such a tough battle. I don't find that productive, or at least there are better ways to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Was I misunderstanding his point about the grammar and philosophy?
Oh, I think so. Not so much that they just have like these really recursive recursive. It's that not that they have really long run-on sentences. I mean, yes, that would fucking help if they would be better at
That
writing.
would be bad grammar, though. But that's not what I'm asking, right?
Yeah, he's talking about the philosophical grammar is really what he means. But he's talking about like uh
Words being defined differently than.
talking about different class types of things as if they're the same thing. So like whatever. There's some like ancient Chinese philosopher that said, well, if there are two things, there's really three things because there's the one thing and then the other thing and then the union of the things, and that really means that there are three things. That was uh misunderstood. Like just kind of talk like the whole it's that whole the theory of types, which you like types is a class of a certain height or rank or whatever you want to call it, or like um, so like people would constantly get stuff wrong. That was like trying to compare something that's one level deep, doing compared to two level deeps. This is bad.
What does that have to do with grammar?
Is this the way you're talking about it? I don't think it actually really. Grammar wasn't a very good word for this. So in a way, you could say he was using bad grammar and explaining bad grammar in the way that he means it. Um,
You're saying interesting. Okay.
which is that I guess he really means to be. He's saying that okay, because you could say concepts, but it's not even just the concepts. It's the way that the philosophers have talked about their concerns was bad. Like the way that they went about doing it, they didn't fit things together appropriately, which in a way you could kind of say that's grammar. Appropriately fitting yours together in the language as it's supposed to be. Um,
So does it have anything to do with the syntax and the actual physical letters and words on the page?
no, no.
Okay. So I missed a point.
Mm. Um, yeah, remember that whole discussion we went on about the ontological argument for God. Um, and I was trying to fill the gap between how to use Russell to argue against the ontological argument of God. His main thing was like saying something like so that I was trying to do that, which I don't think I actually successfully did because I don't remember what it is. But that people talked about things existing, like there's particular things that exist, and then there's kind of more complicated things that exist, which do kind of I guess they exist in a way, but they don't exist in the same way. I'm not doing this very well anyway.
I love you.
Yeah, well, thanks. Love you too.
I don't think it's your. I asked a tough question. I'm also not helping.
I'm trying to think of an example of somebody who had bad. Like, there's got to be something in Plato I can fathom up that is like a bad grammar, but mostly just bad language using bad language. Um.
I feel like we're like inches apart, but
Oh.
we're.
Oh. Yeah. So I mean, part of it is that. So like Russell would, like Plato goes like, well, the things that really exist are, well, on the one hand, Plato says something which is that the permanent things are real, which Russell's already arguing against, but that's not relevant to it's not exactly what the grammar point is.
Oh my God, John! Stay on topic.
Yes, but so the problem is that in a lot of ways, Plato was talking about the Platonic forms as if they were physical objects, which they're a very different type of class of things. And in fact, in a lot of ways, they're much higher up on the class rankings. So you get you get your little blues and yellows and louds and quiets and hot and colds, and those are your very simple particulars. And then you get then you get stuff like objects, or like a single appearance at a single time of an object, which is just the relation. You get a set of, then you get like a set of particulars. So now you actually have the first level class, and then through time, it happens to appear again and again and again, and now you get uh, a relation of those classes, or not a relation. You get a class of those classes, and then at some point, then you get fucking like people or whatever. You just get more complicated objects, and eventually you get to something that is good. Something is good or it's bad, and it's a really high abstraction on the level of particulars. And the problem is that Plato wanted to talk about it as if it's a fucking rock. Like it's in this whatever. It's in the Platonic realm, and it's ultimately real, and everything is coming off of it, which is conflating the way that rocks exist and the way that abstract ideas exist. So there we go. There's, I guess, an example of the bad grammar. Um, I don't know. Did that make sense? Did that?
I think it's me. I think I'm fried. I guess. I'm having a tough time following, and I don't think it's your fault.
Okay.
No, no, no. It's not. It's not the words you're saying. Like I'm not. Like I want to stop book club right now.
Okay.
Like I'm like yeah. Like we should do another like either our next reading and then we'll wrap up this one another day. But like we're missing each other so hard that it's like it's clearly
That's
part of
fine.
it
Well, it also is.
is big.
Well, it also works because there's a whole end of the book that was written 10 years later, or how many ever years later.
Perfect. I'm gonna save my notes for this section so we can revisit. Um,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, there's, except this one's fucking twice as long as the other ones, just about. But whatever, we can do it.
yeah, I really like Russell, so anything to keep it going or anything,
Yeah. So I think.
any more Russell, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this before we cut this off.